So you kind of either buy now, and this is where the market is struggling with this, because few people have flipped out because they made some money, got called the low. The people with shorter term time horizons. Others like it's overbought, but usually these kind of conditions are where you tend to get these crazy legs to the upside because everybody's underweight, because everyone's got the same thing as you. Is I don't have enough spot. Oh shit, what do I do? Then you have to FOMO in and you'll end up FOMOing too high. So this is how it is written. It is always this way. And so my best guess, and I don't know, I don't have a crystal ball, but usually because it's set up like this, the path of most pain is higher. And then once everybody goes, right, it's going, it's running, is usually when this correction happens. So do you get another chance to buy it again at these levels if you miss it now? Maybe. We don't know if it has that downward correction or the sideways correction. You will get a time to buy it after a consolidation later.
If you're still wondering if Bitcoin and the crypto markets have yet to find their bottom, this video may help you figure everything out. Many investors are trying to decide if this is the time to buy, as we see Bitcoin going up and breaking previous resistances. To help you have a clearer vision of what's happening and why this could be the right opportunity to get more exposure, in today's video, we will have Raoul Pal, founder and CEO of Real Vision, make another crazy price prediction. And you'll get excited with this one, so pay close attention until the end. First, let's have a look at the macro and why Raoul thinks we're going up from here.
Macro investing is best summed up by the word denial. So, and people will interpret this two ways. People saying, yeah, the market's denying that it should go lower because earnings are going to be revised lower and that we're going into recession. And my version of that is, yes, tell me something I don't know. And markets are pretty clever. They forward look. So when I look at the macro data, I'm expecting a recession. Now, I understand it seems a bit not very clear because unemployment's not moving yet, stuff's happening, but all my forward-looking indicators suggest that we're going to go into a recession. But what is unexpected, it looks like it's not going to last very long. So the forward-looking stuff based on liquidity, and I'll come into why this is important in a sec, is actually saying that after about April, things start improving. So we go into the vortex now of everything's going to feel terrible, the unemployment's going to start rising, all of the data is going to come out bad. But the market, I think, is forward-looking this turn in the data. And we've seen it with the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve kind of got to the point where we're kind of almost done. They've gone from 50 basis point rate hikes to 25 basis points, and then it'll be stopped. Last time it stopped, Bitcoin went up 300%. ETH did about the same. The rest of the markets rallied, significantly. We're at the juncture where the markets are sniffing out the turn, that something is changing. Inflation is going to start falling, and the narrative is going to shift towards we're in recession now. And that's when everybody thinks, well, we should be maximum bearish. But actually, the markets are forward looking and start discounting an improved situation, whether it's more stimulus or rate cuts or whatever it is, at least the Fed stopping raising rates, killing all of us. So how does this all work between macro and crypto? Because that's the important thing, because people are like, well, why do I care? Well, you need to care because liquidity, which is the amount of money in the system, the rate of change of the money that actually matters. That's what drives crypto cycles. I don't even think it's the halving at all. When I actually match up the peak in Bitcoin cycles, it exactly matches the peak in the ISM survey, which is the business cycle. Why? Because it also matches the peak in the liquidity cycle. It just so happens that the liquidity cycle since 2009 has been about 3 and a bit years between each time the economy. And there's a lot bigger macro discussion about why that is. But I think that crypto is just the liquidity cycle plus the secular adoption trend. So we're starting to see the point that liquidity is going to come back into the market. And that makes sense because if the Fed are going to stop raising rates, that's going to make things feel a little bit better. money will come a little bit back into the system. Even people start buying bonds again and money starts getting recycled. And that means that the M2 will start picking up, and lo and behold, crypto will. Because that's what drives these big up and downs. Not the halving cycle, it's all about macro, which is why I've always been a big proponent of the fact that crypto is macro and macro is crypto. They're all part of the same thing. We're playing two things. One is an adoption of a technology at scale, one of the fastest adoptions of any technology in all history. And the volatility is driven by the liquidity cycle.
What's his overlook for crypto in 2023, knowing the rate of adoption is still growing, and as far as we know, there aren't major black swan events coming soon?
It's the same for the economy as it is for crypto. So the economy will feel like winter time for a bit, and then spring will come. Crypto forward looks it by about 6 months, maybe 9 months, because ETH bottomed in June, Bitcoin bottomed in October. So we got that kind of 6-month lead time. So crypto's already in spring. And spring can be pretty amazing. So if you go back and look at crypto spring in 2019, as I said, both ETH and Bitcoin did 285%. Then they backed off quite a long way for a while, even when the Fed were cutting rates, and they stopped quantitative easing. They stopped quantitative tightening and moved to quantitative easing. It actually backed off a bit from then. So let's go back to the previous cycle, the 2014-15 period. That saw similar, but actually what happened was we had this first spring, then we had this season transition. Now, 2018 and 19 was actually quite a big sell-off over time. 2015, 14 was sideways from this big wedge, and then it all broke higher. So it's going to be some form of rally, probably a lot further than we are now, best guess. Consolidation, sideways or down, who the hell knows? And then as the economy continues to be weak and we go into an election, well, lo and behold, they're going to be giving out money again in certain ways, whatever way that is, whether it's tax cuts or anything, to create liquidity in the system because you want to win an election. So it's like the same setup all over again. And that's probably why we keep seeing these setups, because it's driven by this liquidity cycle. And every time the Federal Reserve have been doing the same thing, they've either been trying to tighten rates or the economy slowed down and they need to pick it back up again. So it's interesting. So spring is where we are, and we've only just started.
And this is why Raoul is buying more crypto now and his strategy.
So you kind of either buy now, and this is where the market is struggling with this, because few people have flipped out because they made some money, got called the low. The people with shorter term time horizons. Others like it's overbought, but usually these kind of conditions are where you tend to get these crazy legs to the upside because everybody's underweight, because everyone's got the same thing as you. Is I don't have enough spot. Oh shit, what do I do? Then you have to FOMO in and you'll end up FOMOing too high. So this is how it is written. It is always this way. And so my best guess, and I don't know, I don't have a crystal ball, but usually because it's set up like this, the path of most pain is higher. And then once everybody goes, right, it's going, it's running, is usually when this correction happens. So do you get another chance to buy it again at these levels if you miss it now? Maybe. We don't know if it has that downward correction or the sideways correction. You will get a time to buy it after a consolidation later. But really, I would be, and this is what I've been doing, is buying, I was buying from June onwards as much as I could with any cash flow I got, because I'm still fully invested in crypto. I never sold anything. But I've been, any cash flow I can, just putting it in is, okay, even now, I've just put money in recently, expecting a higher move. And then if that consolidation comes, that's when I would add some more again. So if you're a longer term time horizon player, I'm not talking about the short term. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but I don't find this a bad level to dollar cost average or just put a chunk in and realize that there is going to be times when it's going to correct again. But the low is in.
But was there anything, according to Raoul, that could change the narrative?
US is trying to stamp on crypto banking, which they've done before, and maybe there's some other regulatory issues, maybe the Ripple case goes the wrong way, and they start saying, well, ETH could be a security. Obviously, it would still have to go to court. All sorts of things have to happen. Could there be a sharp sell-off? So as opposed to the slow one, could it be it pukes 50% in 2 weeks and then rebuilds from that? That's the other possible outcome that's in my head. I don't know.
Regulation could shake things up, especially if it's the so-called bad regulation we're trying to avoid. Meanwhile, Raoul is still going bullish on Ethereum, and this is why.
I am agnostic to who wins. I don't care. All I do is look at the chains and think, okay, I want to allocate capital. What ecosystem do I want to allocate to right now? What has the best risk-adjusted returns? So there are going to be several projects that do much better than Ethereum and will do really well. I actually think Solana will do better than Ethereum, possibly. And we can talk about that later. But there's many. So I'm not saying I'm an Ethereum maximalist in any way. I'm saying it has observable network effects beyond any other token ecosystem. The number of use cases, the applications, the number of wallet addresses, the kind of velocity of money, okay, that's amazing. So Ethereum is really special there. But staking is even more special. Another thing the US might try and crack down on. Brian Armstrong was worried about this. But staking is really special, and most people don't understand it because most people don't come from finance. Staking, as we know, you get given a yield if you stake crypto. And if you do it in Ethereum, what you're doing is you have to stake for a year if you're going to do it yourself, or if not, use Lido or Rocket Pool or whatever, and you've got a liquidity mismatch there because they're providing short-term liquidity in staking when it doesn't actually exist. So we know that these things can go wrong. Not saying that they will, but they could. So I won't do that. It means that liquidity is available to any staker at any time. What does that do? That creates a money market curve for Ethereum, which is like, you know, people use CDs and they use 2-year bonds and they use this. This is what we're going to create. And that means you have financial liquidity to build things on top of, or you're incentivized to keep your money and stake it because you know you can get it back at any time, as opposed to some arbitrary date in a year's time when you don't know what the crypto market's going to look like. So I'm going to stake my stuff if I can then. And particularly if I can do it myself, which might be a little more difficult to do, but it's in my control. Nobody can default on me. It's in the smart contract, and I'm going to get my money. So this is a very, very big innovation for what can be built on top of Ethereum.
Do you agree with Raoul Pal? Can crypto finally thrive in 2023? Is this the bottom? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow for more daily crypto. Thanks.